So, here's my first movie review on my channel, and one of my favorite movie series of all time is, that's right, the Chucky. Now, I grew up watching this guy. I love Chucky, one of my favorite villains of all time, along with Freddy Krueger. But I'd have to say Chucky scared me a little bit more when I was a kid. Sorry about the cat. But let me start by reviewing the original. See if I got it right here. Yep. Child's Play. The original. Now, I actually saw the original after I saw the Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3. And for a long time, the original was my least favorite of the first three. But after a while, I actually could appreciate it more and liked it more and more. And I love the special effects, I love the story, I love the pace, I love the acting, and the animatronics are obviously awesome. And yeah, he scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Absolutely, 100%. I remember walking to the video store one day when I was a little kid, being born in 1982, so this came out in, what, 1988, the first one? So, but I remember walking to the video store and seeing, I'm not sure, yeah, it's not on this one here, but the cover of the original one really freaked me out. But, like I said, I watched the second and third one before I watched the original. Sorry about the cat. Easy. But, let's see. So, let's get into it. So, the movie starts out with Karen and Andy Barkley, a woman who lost her husband. We're not sure how or what happened to him, but she has her little, was the 5 or 6, Andy was, her little kid, who was in love with the, all the good guy stuff, you know, all the marketing. He loved all that stuff. And it was funny at the beginning because he had a big box for his birthday and he ripped it open and it was closed, and kind of threw it away, and he was like, "What is this?" And his mom's like, "Yeah, I know you wanted the Chucky doll to go with it, but couldn't afford it." So anyway, when Karen, Andy's mother, you know, who was at work, found out there was a peddler behind the store selling these good guy dolls for really cheap. So she goes out there, you know, hassles with him, bargains with him a little bit, buys it eventually, brings it home to her son, who absolutely loves it, and shenanigans ensue fairly quickly after that with the babysitter. Now, I love the tension in this movie. You know, there's a lot of shadows, like feet, little feet you can see scurrying around the background. And for a lot of the movie, you don't know if it's Andy that's going crazy or if this doll is really alive. Because what happened was, when the babysitter was there, she got pushed out the window, and with a little toy hammer, you know, it hit her in the head and she flew out the window. But on the desk there was these little footprints in like flour or something. But when the detectives get there, the detectives are like, "What do these look like to you?" They look like footprints, don't they? Very small footprints. And Andy's mom, Karen, goes, "What are you implying? Why would Andy be doing up on the counter?" You know? So at that point, people are starting to think that Andy might have done this. Which is crazy, by the way, but anyway. So what happens next is they're looking into how the babysitter died and everything. And already Chucky is confiding in Andy. We don't really see a whole lot of this, but at one part, Andy goes, Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news. And she's like, and the babysitter, Maggie's like, no, it's bedtime. So she puts him to bed. A little while later, the TV blasts on, and the Chucky doll sitting there watching the TV. So Maggie's like, Andy, I told you, it was bedtime. Why did you put Chucky in front of the TV? And Andy's going, I didn't do that. And this little innocent voice there. So, anyway, so a funny part was where Karen was talking to Andy, and Karen's like, so Chucky's been talking to you, hasn't he? And Andy's like, yeah, he said Maggie was a real bitch and got what she deserved. Coming from like a 5-year-old kid. And Karen's like, how could you say something so horrible? And he's like, I didn't say it, Chucky said it. And she's like, Chucky's not alive, he's just a pile of stuffing, But then, Andy goes off to school. Oh, mind you, at the beginning, the detective, Mike Norris, at the very beginning, before he turned into Chucky, he was Charles Lee Ray, the Lakeshore Strangler, who was a serial killer, and the detective caught him in a toy store, and the detective managed to shoot him a couple times, and he started dying. So, Charles Lee Ray, who is Chucky, by the way, gets his real name, Charles Lee Ray, he got shot, and he starts dying, and he's in this toy store, and he falls over, and knocks a bunch of these big boxes over with Chucky dolls in them. And he's like, I gotta find someone. I gotta find something to switch his soul into so he wouldn't die. So one of these dolls falls in front of him, and he looks and he's like, ooh, here we go. So at that point, he, opens up the box, starts a voodoo chant to try and transfer his soul into this doll, which he was successful at, and the toy store completely explodes, which I don't know how the detective didn't get completely obliterated, but that's besides the point. So anyway, a while later, after Andy has, been with this Chucky doll for a while, Chucky's whispering in his ear, telling him to go do things. So he gets on the subway, and before Charles Lee Ray died, he said, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill Eddie, to the detective and his partner who left him there, which is Eddie. Eddie, his partner, just left him there and took off. But he's like, I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get Eddie, no matter what. So Andy's supposed to be going out to school, but Chucky makes him get on the subway and go to this Eddie Caputo's guy's house. And, Chucky gets there, and you see his little arms, turning the gas off on the stove. And Eddie Caputo's in there, hearing things, shooting his gun around the corner. And eventually the gas builds up. And then, one shot, boom, boom, the whole house explodes everywhere, which was a cool explosion, by the way. The second cool explosion in this movie. There's two of them, the toy store and Eddie Caputo's house. And after that, they try to send Andy to this mental institution, which was crazy. There was a psycho doctor there, they got him locked in. And Chucky manages to get in there and get to when the psychiatrist guy, and this was a gruesome death. He had one of these things on his head, like this electrocuting thing, and he puts it on the guy. Chucky puts it on the guy's head. It completely fries the guy to death, and it's just gruesome the way it looked. Well, like his head turned black, and it was just gruesome. And Chucky managed to escape and run out of there back to his house. And so he's back home hiding, you know. Oh, let me back up a little. Before that, you know, Andy and Mike Norris, not Andy, Karen and the detective, obviously, let me back up a little bit again. I skipped a little bit here. So, when Andy was away with the psychiatrist guy, she picked up the box with the good guy in it, you know, and she's going to throw it away, and she kind of shakes it a little, and batteries fall out, and she looks, and it says batteries included, and so she picks it up, you know, turns it over, opens the battery compartment, there's no batteries in it, and Chucky does a full Exorcist 360, and he goes, "You stupid bitch," or something like that. And then she's like, he rolled under the couch. She grabs him, and she picks him up, and she goes, "All right, talk to me. Talk to me. I know you can talk. Talk to me." And she goes, "All right, I'll make you talk." So she had one of those fireplace things. So, you know, she turns the gas on, puts a match, you know, that goes up into the fire, and she goes, "Talk to me, damn it, or else I'm going to throw you in the fire." And all of a sudden, Chucky comes to life and goes, "You stupid bitch, you filthy slut, I'll teach you to fuck with me." It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. The first time I seen it, it was nuts, but awesome at the same time. So, after that, she goes to find the detective, and Chucky had bitten her. She had these horrible bite marks on her arm. And the detective's like, "How did you get those?" And she goes, "Chucky bit me." And he's like, "For Christ's sake." He still didn't believe her. But then, Detective Norris is driving down the road, you know, and then Chucky is in the back seat. And all of a sudden, he's like got a hose or something, and he's strangling him from the back, you know, while he's going speeding down the road, hitting things, bouncing off of walls and stuff. And then he starts taking the knife and sticking it up through the seat, like near his crotch. Oh my God, that was scary. But then, eventually they end up crashing, which is a cool car crash, by the way. So obviously, the detective then knew it was real. You know, this doll is really alive. And so they found out who he used to hang out with, and they went to this guy's house, who was like a voodoo priest type guy, who told them, and for some reason this guy had voodoo dolls of himself, which is kind of weird, but anyway, they're talking to this guy, and they're like, you know, how can we stop him? And apparently, the longer time Chucky spends in the doll body, the more human he becomes. And eventually, he's going to become, like, stuck in there permanently in the doll body. And Chucky did not like that. So, he takes a voodoo guy, breaks his leg, and then, like, turns around and goes, and then stabs him in the heart, kills him. And after that, before that happened, the priestess guy, the voodoo guy, said the only way to kill him is shoot him through the heart, because that's almost human. So if you shoot him through the heart, you know, it'll actually kill him. So then we get to the finale of the movie in Karen and Andy's apartment, and man, they mangle this doll. they're shooting him. Well, he's burned to a crisp, for one thing. And Karen's like shooting off his leg, shooting off his other leg, shooting his head off. But he still keeps coming like the Terminator. And then eventually, they get him down. And he's like, the heart, shoot him in the heart. Finally, they shoot him in the heart, and he goes flying backwards. Splat on the wall. And then the detective, Mike Norris, his assistant, you know, shows up, grabs the head, starts playing with it, and Detective Norris is like, I thought I told you not to touch it. And the guy's like, well, this thing is dead. It's dead as a doornail, come on. And he's standing behind this vent, and then Chucky's arm reaches out of the vent and starts strangling him. And that's when they shot him in the heart and killed him for good. And I gotta say, I'm sure 99% of people have seen this movie, and I probably didn't explain it greatly. Like I said, this is my first movie review on this here. I mean, I've seen this movie thousands and thousands of times, so you would think it'd be easier to talk about it, but, you know, it's different talking in front of a camera, but anyway, I'll get better, don't worry. So what always bothered me though was whatever happened to Mike Norris at the end of this movie. Like, he's nowhere to be found in Child's Play 2, or the other cop for that matter that actually witnessed this happen. Andy's mother, Karen, got sent to the mental institution, so they thought she was crazy. And Andy got sent off to foster care, so it was all kind of crazy, but nevertheless, still one of my all-time favorite movies. But the next movie is actually my favorite Child's Play movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. That would be Child's Play 2, which is freaking awesome. And I will get into that on the next video. So, what do you guys think about the original Child's Play from 1988? I think it's a cult classic. I think the animatronics were awesome, especially for the time. I mean, it looks way more realistic than a lot of CGI crap does nowadays. And just the atmosphere of the whole thing, and the, you know, the fear of dolls that many people have, you know, plays into it. So I'm gonna rate it a classic. I'm not sure about my rating system yet. I haven't got it down pat, but this movie is definitely a classic in my opinion. So until next time, this is Harry, the movie guy, saying, I'll catch ya on the flip side. Bye bye. Peace out, my friends.